This video contains audio content only. There are no visual elements or images accompanying the audio. If you're expecting to see video footage, please note that this is an intentional audio-only presentation. We recommend listening to this content rather than watching the screen. Thank you for your understanding and enjoy the audio. Welcome, viewers, to our deep dive into the fascinating world of the Naga people. Today, we're embarking on a journey that will take us through the mist-shrouded hills of Northeast India and northwestern Myanmar, exploring a culture that has captivated anthropologists, challenged governments, and preserved ancient traditions in the face of rapid modernization. The Naga people have a history as complex and rugged as the terrain they call home. Their story is one of fierce independence, rich cultural heritage, and an ongoing struggle to maintain their unique identity in a rapidly changing world. From their traditional headhunting practices to their modern political movements, from their vibrant festivals to their controversial culinary choices, the Naga people offer us a window into a world where ancient customs collide with contemporary challenges. As we delve into this topic, we'll explore the geographic, linguistic, and cultural tapestry that makes up the Naga identity. We'll trace their history from pre-colonial times through their fight for autonomy, and examine how Christianity has reshaped their society. We'll also confront some of the controversies and challenges that face the Naga people today, from political tensions to the preservation of their unique cultural heritage. So, whether you're a student of anthropology, a lover of world cultures, or simply curious about the diversity of human experience, I invite you to join me on this audio journey. Let's peel back the layers of myth and misconception to discover the true essence of the Naga people. A proud and resilient group navigating the complexities of the modern world while honoring their ancient roots. 1. The Land of the Nagas, a geographical and environmental overview. Our journey begins in the verdant, mist-shrouded hills of northeast India and northwest Myanmar. The Naga homeland is a land of breathtaking beauty and challenging terrain, a place where dense forests cloak steep mountainsides and hidden valleys harbor ancient traditions. Imagine, if you will, a landscape that seems to have been carved by the hand of a capricious god. Rugged mountains rise abruptly from the Brahmaputra Valley in the west, their slopes cloaked in lush subtropical and temperate forests. As you ascend these hills, you'll find yourself in a world of swirling mists and sudden vistas, where the air grows cooler and the vegetation changes with each step. The Naga Hills, as this region is known, are part of the Patkai Range, which forms a natural border between India and Myanmar. This mountainous terrain has played a crucial role in shaping Naga culture and history. The difficult access and isolation provided by these hills have helped the Naga people maintain their unique cultural identity for centuries, shielding them from outside influences and fostering a fierce spirit of independence. But let's not romanticize this landscape too much. While beautiful, it's also challenging. The steep slopes and heavy monsoon rains make agriculture a constant struggle. Landslides are a common occurrence, sometimes cutting off entire villages for days or weeks. Yet, the Naga people have not just survived in this environment, they've thrived, developing ingenious agricultural techniques and a deep connection to their land. One of the most fascinating aspects of Naga agriculture is their practice of JHUM, or slash and burn cultivation. This method, practiced for centuries, involves clearing a patch of forest, burning the vegetation, and then planting crops in the nutrient-rich ash. After a few years, when the soil's fertility declines, the plot is left to regenerate, and a new area is cleared. This rotating system has allowed the Naga to farm sustainably in an environment where flat, fertile land is scarce. The forests themselves are not just obstacles to be cleared, but vital resources. They provide timber for the distinctive Naga longhouses, medicinal plants used in traditional healing practices, and habitats for the wildlife that feature prominently in Naga folklore and hunting traditions. From the majestic hornbill, whose feathers adorn ceremonial headdresses, to the Asiatic black bear, whose bile is used in traditional medicine, the flora and fauna of these forests are inextricably linked with Naga culture. Rivers, too, play a crucial role in Naga life. The region is crisscrossed by numerous fast-flowing streams and rivers, which not only provide water for drinking and irrigation but also feature prominently in Naga spiritual beliefs. Many Naga tribes believe that the souls of the dead must cross a great river to reach the afterlife, and rivers often serve as boundaries between tribal territories. The climate of the Naga Hills adds another layer of complexity to life in this region. The monsoon season, which typically lasts from May to September, brings heavy rainfall that can cause flooding and landslides. During this time, many villages become isolated as roads are washed out. Yet, this same rainfall nourishes the lush forests and feeds the rivers that are so crucial to Naga life. In the winter months, particularly at higher elevations, temperatures can drop significantly. It's not uncommon to see frost on the ground in the mornings, a stark contrast to the humid subtropical climate of the lower elevations. This climatic diversity allows for a wide range of crops to be grown, from rice and millet in the valleys to apples and pears in the higher reaches. One cannot discuss the Naga environment without mentioning the impact of climate change. In recent years, Naga farmers have reported increasingly erratic weather patterns, with delayed monsoons and unpredictable rainfall affecting traditional agricultural cycles. This has led to concerns about food security and the preservation of traditional farming practices. The Naga homeland is also rich in natural resources, a fact that has both blessed and cursed the region. The hills contain deposits of oil, coal, and limestone, resources that have attracted the interest of outside powers and sometimes led to conflicts over land rights and environmental concerns. Today, the Naga landscape is changing rapidly. Roads are being carved into previously isolated areas, bringing both opportunities and challenges. Deforestation is a growing concern, as is the loss of biodiversity. Yet, many Naga communities are at the forefront of conservation efforts, recognizing that their cultural survival is intimately tied to the preservation of their natural environment. As we move forward in our exploration of Naga culture, it's crucial to keep this environmental context in mind. The rugged beauty of the Naga Hills, the challenges posed by the terrain and climate, and the rich biodiversity of the region have all played crucial roles in shaping Naga identity and culture. From their agricultural practices to their spiritual beliefs, from their traditional crafts to their modern political struggles, the land of the Nagas is more than just a backdrop. It's an integral part of who they are. 2. A tapestry of tribes. Linguistic and ethnic classification of the Naga people. As we delve deeper into the world of the Naga, we find ourselves faced with a fascinating linguistic and ethnic tapestry, one that challenges our understanding of what constitutes a unified people. The term, Naga, itself is an umbrella designation, encompassing a diverse group of tribes with distinct languages, customs, and histories. This complexity has led to ongoing debates among anthropologists, linguists, and the Naga people themselves about how to classify and understand this vibrant mosaic of cultures. Let's start with a surprising fact: there is no single Naga language. Instead, the Naga people speak a variety of languages, many of which are mutually unintelligible. Linguists have identified over 30 distinct Naga languages, belonging to the Tibeto-Burman language family. This language family is part of the larger Sino-Tibetan group, which includes Chinese and Burmese. However, the classification of Naga languages is an ongoing process, with new discoveries and reclassifications happening regularly. The linguistic diversity among the Naga is truly astounding. In some cases, villages just a few miles apart may speak different dialects or even entirely different languages. For instance, the Angami Naga language has several dialects that can vary significantly from village to village. This linguistic diversity has historically acted as a barrier between different Naga tribes, contributing to their distinct identities and sometimes leading to intertribal conflicts. To give you a sense of this diversity, let's take a whirlwind tour of some of the major Naga languages. The Ao language, spoken by the Ao Naga in Nagaland, has three main dialects: Chungli, Mongsan, and Chonki. The Sumi language, used by the Sumi Naga, is known for its complex tonal system. The Angami language, spoken around Kohima, the capital of Nagaland, has four main dialects. Then there's Lotha, Sangtam, Yimchungru, Kiamniungan, Chong, Pham, Konyak, and many more, each with its own unique features and cultural significance. This linguistic diversity poses significant challenges. For example, in educational settings, it's not uncommon for a classroom to have students from several different language backgrounds. To address this, many Naga have adopted Nagamese, a Creole language that combines elements of Assamese, Bengali, and various Naga languages, as a lingua franca. English, too, plays a significant role, especially in education and administration. But language is just one aspect of Naga diversity. The Naga people are divided into numerous tribes, each with its own distinct cultural practices, traditional dress, and social structures. Some of the major Naga tribes include the Angami, Ao, Chakasang, Chong, Kiamniungan, Konyak, Lotha, Pham, Pochuri, Rengma, Sangtam, Sumi, Yimchungru, and Zeliang. Each of these tribes has its own origin stories, traditional territories, and unique customs. The classification of these tribes has been a subject of much debate and research. Early British anthropologists, working in the colonial era, attempted to categorize the Naga tribes based on various criteria such as language, physical characteristics, and cultural practices. However, these early classifications often oversimplified the complex realities of Naga identity and interrelationships. More recent anthropological work has highlighted the fluidity and complexity of Naga tribal identities. For instance, some groups that were once considered sub-tribes have asserted their status as independent tribes. The Chakasang, for example, were formerly considered a sub-tribe of the Angami but are now recognized as a distinct tribe. It's also worth noting that the concept of a unified, Naga, identity is relatively recent. Historically, most Naga people identified primarily with their specific tribe or village. The idea of a pan-Naga identity emerged largely in response to colonial rule and the subsequent struggle for autonomy and independence. This brings us to a fascinating aspect of Naga ethnic identity, its political dimension. The classification and recognition of tribes is not just an academic exercise but has real-world implications for political representation, access to resources, and cultural rights. In Nagaland, for instance, there are ongoing debates about which groups should be officially recognized as scheduled tribes, a designation that comes with certain legal protections and benefits. The complexity of Naga ethnic and linguistic classification extends beyond the borders of Nagaland. Naga communities are also found in the neighboring Indian states of Manipur, Assam, and Arunachal Pradesh, as well as in parts of Myanmar. These groups often have their own unique identities and political aspirations, adding another layer of complexity to the already intricate tapestry of Naga identity. One particularly intriguing aspect of Naga ethnic identity is the role of origin myths and migration stories. Many Naga tribes have elaborate oral traditions that trace their origins to distant lands or mythical ancestors. These stories often involve epic journeys, supernatural events, and encounters with other peoples. While these narratives may not always align with archaeological or genetic evidence, they play a crucial role in shaping tribal identities and intertribal relationships. The linguistic and ethnic diversity of the Naga people has also led to a rich tradition of cultural exchange and hybridization. Despite their differences, Naga tribes have long engaged in trade, intermarriage, and cultural borrowing. This has resulted in a complex web of cultural practices that are simultaneously distinct and interconnected. In recent years, there has been a growing interest among young Naga in rediscovering and preserving their linguistic and cultural heritage. Language revitalization programs, cultural festivals, and academic research projects are all part of this effort to maintain the rich diversity of Naga cultures in the face of globalization and homogenization. As we conclude this section, it's important to remember that the classification and understanding of Naga linguistic and ethnic identity is an ongoing process. As new research emerges and as Naga communities themselves continue to assert and redefine their identities, our understanding of this complex tapestry will undoubtedly evolve. The diversity of the Naga people, far from being a simple curiosity, is a living, breathing reality that continues to shape the social, cultural, and political landscape of this fascinating region. 3. Pillars of society. Traditional Naga social structure and governance systems. As we delve deeper into the world of the Naga people, we find ourselves face to face with a social structure and governance system that is as intricate as it is fascinating. The traditional Naga society, shaped by centuries of isolation and adaptation to their challenging environment, offers us a window into a world where ancient customs and modern realities coexist in a delicate balance. At the heart of traditional Naga social structure is the village. Unlike many other societies where the family or clan might be the primary unit, for the Naga, the village has historically been the center of social, economic, and political life. Each village, perched on a hilltop or nestled in a valley, functions as a semi-autonomous unit with its own customs, laws, and governing bodies. The layout of a traditional Naga village is itself a reflection of their social structure. At the center, you'll often find the morang, a communal house that serves as both a dormitory for young men and a center for social and educational activities. The morang is more than just a building, it's an institution that plays a crucial role in transmitting cultural knowledge and maintaining social cohesion. In many Naga tribes, society is divided into khels, which are essentially clans or lineage groups. These khels play a significant role in organizing social life, regulating marriages, as many tribes prohibit marriage within the same khel, and even determining political representation. The number and nature of khels can vary significantly between different Naga tribes. Leadership in traditional Naga society is a complex affair. While some tribes have hereditary chiefs, others operate on a more egalitarian basis. The Angami Naga, for instance, are known for their democratic village republics, where decisions are made by consensus in village councils. The Konyak Naga, on the other hand, have a system of hereditary chieftainship, with the Ang, chief, wielding significant power. One of the most intriguing aspects of Naga governance is the role of customary law. Each village typically has its own set of laws and customs, passed down orally through generations. These laws cover everything from land ownership and resource management to social behavior and conflict resolution. Violations of these laws are often dealt with by village councils or courts, with punishments ranging from fines to social ostracism. The concept of ownership in traditional Naga society is also worth noting. While individual ownership of property exists, there's also a strong tradition of communal ownership, particularly when it comes to land and natural resources. Many villages have communal forests, hunting grounds, and water sources that are managed collectively for the benefit of all members. Gender roles in traditional Naga society have historically been quite distinct, with men and women having separate spheres of influence. Men typically dominated in areas of warfare, hunting, and formal political leadership, while women held significant power in agricultural production, household management, and informal social networks. However, it's important to note that these roles were not universally rigid across all Naga tribes, and there have been notable exceptions throughout history. One fascinating aspect of Naga social structure is the age group system, which is prevalent in many tribes. In this system, individuals born within a certain span of years form a cohort that moves through life stages together. These age groups often have specific roles and responsibilities within the community, and the bonds formed within these groups can last a lifetime. The traditional Naga governance system also included a robust mechanism for inter-village and inter-tribal relations. Many tribes had elaborate systems of alliances, often cemented through feasts, exchanges of gifts, and intermarriage. These alliances played a crucial role in regulating trade, managing conflicts, and organizing collective defense against external threats. One of the most infamous aspects of traditional Naga society was the practice of headhunting, which played a significant role in their social and spiritual life until its suppression in the mid-20th century. While often sensationalized by outsiders, headhunting was deeply embedded in Naga culture, tied to concepts of masculinity, fertility, and spiritual power. The practice also had important social functions, such as cementing alliances and defining tribal territories. The practice of headhunting, while no longer active, has left an indelible mark on Naga social structure and material culture. The skulls of enemies, once displayed as trophies, were believed to bring fertility to the land and strength to the community. Warriors who had taken heads held high social status and were often adorned with distinctive tattoos and ornaments. Even today, you can see echoes of this practice in the intricate designs of Naga jewelry and textiles, which often incorporate motifs related to headhunting. Another crucial aspect of traditional Naga governance was the management of natural resources. Given the challenging terrain and the importance of agriculture in Naga society, elaborate systems were developed to manage land, water, and forest resources. Many villages had, and some still maintain, strict regulations about when and where slash and burn cultivation could be practiced, how water sources were to be used, and which areas of forest were to be preserved. The feasting culture of the Naga people is also deeply intertwined with their social and political structures. Feasts, often involving the sacrifice of large numbers of animals, particularly the culturally significant mithan, a semi-domesticated bovine, served multiple purposes. They were a way to display wealth and status, cement social bonds, mark important life events, and even settle disputes. The ability to host large feasts was often a key factor in establishing and maintaining political leadership. It's important to note that while there are many commonalities, the specifics of social structure and governance can vary significantly between different Naga tribes. The Konyak, for instance, had a more hierarchical system with the Ang, chief, at the top, followed by nobles, commoners, and in some cases, a class of servants or slaves. The Angami, on the other hand, had a more egalitarian system where leadership was based more on personal merit and consensus-building ability. The role of religion in traditional Naga governance cannot be overstated. Before the widespread adoption of Christianity, the Naga followed animistic beliefs that permeated every aspect of life. Religious specialists, often referred to as shamans or priests, played crucial roles in governance, acting as intermediaries between the human and spirit worlds. They were often consulted on important decisions, from when to plant crops to whether to go to war. One fascinating aspect of Naga social structure is the institution of dormitories, particularly for young men. These dormitories, known as morung in many Naga languages, served as centers for education, socialization, and military training. Young men would live in these communal houses, learning tribal history, songs, dances, and martial skills from their elders. The morung system played a crucial role in maintaining social cohesion and transmitting cultural knowledge across generations. The advent of colonial rule and later, integration into independent India, brought significant changes to traditional Naga governance systems. The introduction of modern administrative structures, from village development boards to state-level government, has often existed in parallel with traditional systems, creating a complex hybrid of old and new. In many Naga areas today, you'll find traditional village councils operating alongside elected local government bodies, each with their own spheres of influence and authority. Despite these changes, many elements of traditional Naga social structure and governance persist. Customary law continues to play a significant role in many Naga communities, particularly in matters related to land ownership, marriage, and dispute resolution. Traditional leaders, while no longer wielding the absolute authority they once did, often still command significant respect and influence. The complexity of Naga social structure and governance systems has posed challenges for outsiders attempting to understand or administer these communities. Colonial administrators and later, the Indian government, have often struggled to reconcile traditional Naga systems with modern administrative structures. This tension between traditional and modern forms of governance continues to be a significant issue in Naga areas today. In recent years, there has been a growing movement among the Naga to document and preserve their traditional governance systems. This effort is driven partly by a desire to maintain cultural identity in the face of rapid modernization, and partly by the recognition that many traditional practices, particularly in areas like natural resource management, have valuable lessons for sustainable development. As we conclude this exploration of traditional Naga social structure and governance, it's clear that we're looking at a system of remarkable complexity and resilience. Shaped by centuries of adaptation to a challenging environment and relative isolation, Naga social and political structures offer fascinating insights into alternative forms of social organization and governance. As the Naga navigate the challenges of the 21st century, the wisdom embedded in these traditional systems may well prove to be a valuable resource, offering lessons in community cohesion, sustainable resource management, and participatory governance that extend far beyond the mist-shrouded hills of their homeland. 4. From ancient roots to modern struggles, the history of the Naga people and their quest for self-determination. The story of the Naga people is a tapestry woven with threads of ancient traditions, colonial encounters, and a fierce struggle for identity and autonomy. It's a narrative that spans centuries, from the misty origins of Naga tribes to their current position at the crossroads of tradition and modernity, independence and integration. The early history of the Naga is shrouded in mystery and oral tradition. Many Naga tribes have origin stories that speak of migrations from distant lands, often involving supernatural elements. For instance, the Ao Naga have a legend about emerging from a stone called Lungtarok, while the Angami speak of migrating from a place called Kezakanoma. While these stories may not align with archaeological evidence, they play a crucial role in shaping Naga identity and intertribal relationships. What we do know is that the Naga have inhabited their current homeland in the hills between India and Myanmar for many centuries. Their strategic location along ancient trade routes between South and Southeast Asia meant that they had intermittent contact with neighboring kingdoms and empires, including the Ahom Kingdom of Assam and the Burmese Empire. The first significant encounter between the Naga and the outside world came with the arrival of the British in the early 19th century. The British East India Company, having established control over the plains of Assam, began to take an interest in the hill areas inhabited by the Naga. This interest was primarily driven by two factors: the desire to secure the frontier against Burmese incursions, and the need to put an end to Naga raids on the plains. The relationship between the British and the Naga was initially hostile. The Naga fiercely resisted British attempts to control their territory, leading to a series of punitive expeditions by the colonial forces. One of the most famous of these was the Angami Naga Uprising of 1879 to 1880, which saw fierce fighting and the death of a British political agent. However, by the late 19th century, the British had largely succeeded in establishing their authority over the Naga Hills. They introduced a system of administration that aimed to preserve Naga autonomy to some extent while bringing the region under overall British control. This period saw the introduction of Christianity, modern education, and new forms of governance to Naga society. The arrival of American Baptist missionaries in the 1870s marked a turning point in Naga history. The missionaries not only brought a new religion but also introduced writing systems for Naga languages, established schools, and provided medical care. The rapid spread of Christianity among the Naga had profound effects on their society, culture, and political consciousness. As India moved towards independence in the 1940s, the question of the Naga future became increasingly pressing. Many Naga leaders, educated in mission schools and exposed to ideas of nationalism and self-determination, began to assert their right to independence. In 1929, the Naga Club, a group of Western-educated Naga, submitted a memorandum to the Simon Commission, stating that the Naga should be left free when the British left India. The most prominent figure in the Naga independence movement was Az Phaizo, who became the leader of the Naga National Council, NNC. Phaizo and his followers argued that the Naga had never been part of India and had the right to determine their own future. On August 14, 1947, just a day before Indian independence, Phaizo declared Naga independence. The Indian government, led by Jawaharlal Nehru, rejected the Naga claim to independence, arguing that the Naga were an integral part of India. This set the stage for a long and often violent conflict between Naga insurgents and Indian security forces. The conflict, which began in the 1950s, saw periods of intense fighting interspersed with attempts at negotiation. In 1963, in an attempt to address Naga aspirations, the Indian government created the state of Nagaland, carving it out of Assam. However, this did not satisfy those demanding full independence. The conflict continued, with various Naga factions fighting not only against Indian forces but also among themselves. The 1970s and 1980s saw further attempts at negotiation, including the Shillong Accord of 1975. However, these efforts were complicated by divisions within the Naga movement. Some groups, like the National Socialist Council of Nagaland, nitrogen monothiocyanate, rejected any solution short of full independence. The conflict has had a profound impact on Naga society. Decades of insurgency and counterinsurgency operations have led to widespread human rights abuses, economic disruption, and social upheaval. The Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which gives sweeping powers to security forces, has been a particular source of grievance among the Naga. In recent years, there have been renewed efforts to find a peaceful solution to the Naga issue. In 2015, the Indian government signed a framework agreement with the nitrogen monothiocyanate, IM, one of the main Naga insurgent groups. While the details of this agreement have not been made public, it is seen as a step towards a final settlement. However, the path to peace remains complicated. There are divisions among Naga groups, with some factions continuing to demand complete independence while others are willing to accept autonomy within India. There are also complex issues to be resolved, including the demand for the integration of all Naga inhabited areas, which would involve redrawing the boundaries of several northeastern states, and the question of how to reconcile traditional Naga governance systems with modern democratic structures. The struggle for self-determination has profoundly shaped Naga identity and politics. It has fostered a strong sense of pan-Naga identity that transcends traditional tribal divisions. At the same time, it has led to tensions with neighboring communities and complicated the Naga relationship with the Indian state. Today, the Naga find themselves at a crossroads. While there is a strong desire for peace and development, there are also concerns about preserving Naga culture and identity in a rapidly changing world. The challenge for the Naga, as for many indigenous peoples around the world, is how to navigate the complexities of the modern world while maintaining their unique cultural heritage and achieving their aspirations for self-determination. As we look to the future, the story of the Naga continues to unfold. Their journey from ancient hill tribes to a people at the center of one of South Asia's longest-running conflicts is a testament to the enduring power of identity and the complex interplay between tradition and modernity. Whatever the future holds, it's clear that the Naga will continue to play a significant role in shaping the political and cultural landscape of Northeast India and beyond. 5. From animism to Christianity, the transformation of Naga culture. The story of the Naga people's religious transformation is a fascinating tale of cultural encounter, adaptation, and resilience. It's a narrative that takes us from the mist-shrouded hills where ancient spirits dwelled to the bustling churches of modern Nagaland, illustrating how a society can undergo profound change while still maintaining its core identity. Before the arrival of Christianity, the Naga followed a complex system of animistic beliefs. This worldview saw the natural world as imbued with spirits and supernatural forces. Every hill, river, and forest was believed to have its own spirit, and maintaining harmony with these spirits was crucial for the well-being of individuals and communities. The traditional Naga religion was deeply intertwined with their social and political structures. Religious specialists, often referred to as shamans or priests, played crucial roles in community life. They were responsible for interpreting omens, performing rituals, and mediating between the human and spirit worlds. These practices were not merely spiritual exercises but were integral to agriculture, warfare, and governance. One of the most significant aspects of traditional Naga religion was the practice of headhunting. While often sensationalized by outsiders, headhunting was deeply embedded in Naga culture, tied to concepts of masculinity, fertility, and spiritual power. The taking of an enemy's head was believed to bring blessings to the community and ensure a good harvest. The arrival of Christianity in the Naga Hills in the late 19th century marked the beginning of a profound transformation. The first Christian missionaries to work among the Naga were American Baptists, who arrived in the 1870s. These early missionaries faced enormous challenges, including difficult terrain, diseases, and initial hostility from some Naga communities. However, the missionaries persevered, and their efforts began to bear fruit. The spread of Christianity among the Naga was remarkably rapid, particularly when compared to other parts of India. By the mid-20th century, a majority of Naga had converted to Christianity, primarily to Baptist denominations. Several factors contributed to the rapid spread of Christianity among the Naga. The missionaries' provision of education and healthcare was certainly a draw. Mission schools provided Naga youth with access to Western education, which became increasingly valuable as the region was integrated into the broader colonial economy. Moreover, some aspects of Christianity resonated with existing Naga beliefs. The concept of a supreme god was not entirely alien to the Naga, who had notions of a high god in their traditional religion. The Christian emphasis on individual salvation also aligned well with the Naga's strong sense of personal autonomy. Interestingly, some Naga saw Christianity as a means of asserting their distinct identity vis-a-vis their Hindu and Muslim neighbors in the plains. Christianity became a marker of Naga identity, distinguishing them from other ethnic groups in Northeast India. The adoption of Christianity had profound effects on Naga society. Many traditional practices, including headhunting, were abandoned. The role of traditional religious specialists diminished, replaced by Christian pastors and church leaders. New forms of social organization emerged around the church, which became a central institution in Naga communities. However, it would be a mistake to see the Christianization of the Naga as a simple case of old beliefs being replaced by new ones. Rather, what emerged was a unique synthesis of Christian theology and traditional Naga cultural values. Many Naga Christians continued to hold beliefs in spirits and supernatural forces, integrating these into their new faith. This synthesis is evident in many aspects of contemporary Naga Christian practice. For instance, many Naga churches incorporate traditional music and dance into their worship services. Christian themes are often expressed through traditional Naga art forms, creating a distinctive Naga Christian aesthetic. The impact of Christianity on Naga politics has been significant. Christian ethics and theology have often been invoked in the Naga struggle for self-determination. Many Naga political leaders have been deeply influenced by their Christian faith, seeing their political struggle as aligned with Christian principles of justice and human dignity. At the same time, the church has often played a mediating role in Naga society, working to resolve conflicts between different Naga factions and advocating for peace. Organizations like the Nagaland Baptist Church Council have been important voices in Naga civil society, addressing issues ranging from corruption to environmental conservation. The transformation of Naga religion has not been without its challenges and controversies. There have been tensions between different Christian denominations, as well as between Christians and those who adhere to traditional beliefs. Some Naga have expressed concern about the loss of traditional cultural practices and knowledge that has accompanied Christianization. In recent years, there has been a growing interest among some Naga in reviving and preserving elements of their pre-Christian heritage. This has led to efforts to document traditional beliefs and practices, and even attempts to integrate some traditional rituals into Christian worship. The story of the Naga's religious transformation is also a story of literacy and education. The missionaries developed writing systems for Naga languages and translated the Bible into these languages. This not only facilitated the spread of Christianity but also played a crucial role in preserving and developing Naga languages. Today, Christianity is an integral part of Naga identity. Nagaland is often described as a predominantly Christian state, with some estimates suggesting that over 90% of the population identifies as Christian. The skyline of Naga towns is dominated by church spires, and Christian festivals form an important part of the Naga cultural calendar. Yet, even as Christianity has become deeply rooted in Naga society, elements of traditional beliefs persist. Many Naga Christians still hold beliefs in spirits and supernatural forces, albeit often reinterpreted through a Christian lens. Traditional cultural practices, stripped of their explicitly religious elements, continue to play important roles in Naga social life. The transformation of Naga culture through Christianity is a testament to the dynamic nature of cultural change. It demonstrates how a society can embrace new ideas and practices while still maintaining a strong sense of its own unique identity. As the Naga continue to navigate the challenges of the modern world, their distinctive blend of Christianity and traditional culture will undoubtedly continue to evolve, shaping their society in new and unexpected ways. 6. Navigating identity. The Naga people in India and Myanmar. The story of the Naga people is not confined within the borders of a single nation. Straddling the rugged borderlands of Northeast India and Northwest Myanmar, the Naga navigate a complex web of identities, allegiances, and political realities. Their situation offers a fascinating case study in the challenges faced by indigenous peoples whose traditional territories span international boundaries. The majority of the Naga population resides in India, primarily in the state of Nagaland, but also in significant numbers in Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, and Assam. However, a substantial Naga population also lives across the border in Myanmar's Sagaing region. This division is not merely a quirk of geography but the result of historical processes, particularly the drawing of borders by colonial powers with little regard for existing ethnic and cultural boundaries. The colonial-era Durand Line, which later became the India-Myanmar border, cut right through Naga territory. This arbitrary division has had profound implications for Naga identity and politics. Families found themselves separated by an international border, traditional migration routes were disrupted, and the Naga people were suddenly subject to two different national governments with divergent policies and attitudes towards ethnic minorities. In India, the Naga have a complex relationship with the state. While they are recognized as a scheduled tribe and have certain constitutional protections, many Naga have long harbored aspirations for greater autonomy or even independence. The creation of Nagaland state in 1963 was an attempt to address these aspirations, but it did not fully resolve the tensions. The ongoing peace negotiations between the Indian government and various Naga factions are testament to the continuing complexity of this relationship. One of the most contentious issues in Naga politics is the concept of Nagalim, or Greater Nagaland. This refers to the aspiration of bringing all Naga inhabited areas under a single administrative unit. This would involve not only the current state of Nagaland but also parts of neighboring Indian states and areas of Myanmar. Needless to say, this idea is controversial and has led to tensions with other ethnic groups in the region. In Myanmar, the situation of the Naga is quite different. They are one of the country's many ethnic minorities and have been involved in the complex dynamics of Myanmar's long-running civil conflicts. The Naga in Myanmar have their own armed groups, such as the National Socialist Council of Nagaland Kaplang, nitrogen monothiocyanate K, which have at times fought against the Myanmar military and at other times entered into ceasefire agreements. The Naga on both sides of the border maintain strong cultural and familial ties, often ignoring the international boundary in their day-to-day lives. Cross-border movement is common, although it has become more difficult in recent years due to increased border security measures by both India and Myanmar. This transnational nature of Naga identity poses unique challenges. For instance, peace negotiations on the Indian side of the border often have implications for Naga groups in Myanmar. Similarly, political developments in Myanmar can have ripple effects in the Naga areas of India. The Naga people's struggle for self-determination has taken different forms in India and Myanmar. In India, it has primarily been framed as a demand for greater autonomy or independence within the Indian political context. In Myanmar, Naga aspirations have been part of the broader ethnic minority struggles against the centralized control of the Bamar-dominated government. Education has played a crucial role in shaping Naga identity politics. In India, the spread of English medium education, often through Christian missionary schools, has given many Naga access to global discourses on indigenous rights and self-determination. This has influenced how they articulate their demands and engage with the Indian state. In Myanmar, educational opportunities for the Naga have been more limited, which has affected how they engage in political processes. The economic situations of the Naga in India and Myanmar also differ significantly. While Nagaland in India has seen some economic development, albeit unevenly distributed, the Naga areas in Myanmar remain largely underdeveloped. This economic disparity has led to migration pressures, with many Myanmar Naga seeking opportunities in India. In recent years, there have been efforts to bridge the divide between Naga communities across the international border. Cultural exchanges, cross-border conferences, and joint cultural festivals have been organized. These initiatives aim to strengthen pan-Naga identity and solidarity, although they sometimes face obstacles from national governments concerned about security and sovereignty. The rise of social media and digital communication has also played a role in connecting Naga communities across borders. Young Naga on both sides of the border are increasingly connected, sharing cultural content, political ideas, and personal stories online. This digital connectivity is fostering a sense of shared identity that transcends national boundaries. However, the transnational nature of Naga identity also poses challenges. Different legal systems, citizenship requirements, and political realities in India and Myanmar can create complications for Naga individuals and communities. For instance, a Naga person from Myanmar may find it difficult to claim tribal rights or benefits in India, even if they have close cultural and familial ties to Indian Naga communities. The Naga situation also highlights the limitations of the nation-state model in accommodating indigenous identities that predate modern borders. The Naga, like many indigenous peoples around the world, find themselves navigating between their traditional identities and the citizenship demands of modern nation-states. Environmental issues provide another lens through which to view the transnational nature of Naga identity. The Naga homeland is a biodiversity hotspot, and traditional Naga practices have long played a role in preserving this ecosystem. However, the international border complicates efforts at coordinated conservation. Deforestation, hunting practices, or pollution on one side of the border can have significant impacts on Naga communities on the other side. Looking to the future, the question of Naga identity in India and Myanmar remains complex and evolving. As both countries undergo political and economic changes, the Naga will need to continue adapting their strategies for preserving their culture and pursuing their aspirations. The challenge will be to find ways to maintain their unique identity and cross-border ties while also engaging productively with the national contexts in which they find themselves. The story of the Naga in India and Myanmar is thus not just about a people divided by a border, but about the resilience and adaptability of indigenous identities in the face of modern political realities. It's a story that challenges our understanding of nationalism, citizenship, and identity in an increasingly interconnected world. As the Naga continue to navigate these complex waters, their experiences offer valuable insights into the challenges and possibilities of indigenous transnationalism in the 21st century. 7. Beyond the exotic. Cultural practices and controversies in Naga society. The Naga people have long been the subject of fascination for outsiders, often portrayed in exoticized terms that emphasize their otherness. However, a deeper look at Naga cultural practices reveals a complex society grappling with the tensions between tradition and modernity, cultural preservation and adaptation. In this section, we'll explore some of the most notable, and sometimes controversial, aspects of Naga culture, moving beyond simplistic stereotypes to understand the nuanced realities of contemporary Naga life. One of the most infamous aspects of traditional Naga culture was the practice of headhunting. While this practice ended decades ago, its legacy continues to shape perceptions of the Naga both within and outside their community. Historically, headhunting was deeply embedded in Naga social and spiritual life. The taking of an enemy's head was believed to bring fertility to the land, success in war, and prestige to the warrior. Skulls were displayed in the morang, men's house, and were central to many rituals. The British colonial administration made concerted efforts to stamp out headhunting, and by the mid-20th century, the practice had largely ceased. However, the cultural significance of headhunting didn't disappear overnight. Many older Nagas still remember a time when headhunting was a reality, and elements of headhunting culture persist in Naga art, folklore, and social structures. Today, the legacy of headhunting is a source of both pride and discomfort for many Naga. While some see it as a testament to their warrior heritage, others are uncomfortable with the violent connotations and the way it has been used to portray the Naga as primitive or savage. Many Naga intellectuals and cultural leaders are working to reframe this aspect of their history, emphasizing the complex social and spiritual dimensions of headhunting rather than its violence. Another aspect of Naga culture that has attracted attention and controversy is their culinary practices, particularly the consumption of dog meat. Dog meat has traditionally been part of the diet in some Naga communities, often consumed during festivals or special occasions. However, this practice has come under increasing scrutiny in recent years, both from animal rights activists and from within Naga society itself. The debate over dog meat consumption illustrates the complex dynamics at play in contemporary Naga society. On one hand, some Naga defend the practice as part of their cultural heritage and argue against outside interference in their dietary choices. On the other hand, many Naga, particularly younger and urban-dwelling individuals, are moving away from dog meat consumption, influenced by changing attitudes towards animal welfare and the stigma associated with the practice. In 2020, the state government of Nagaland banned the commercial import and trading of dogs for meat, a move that was celebrated by animal rights groups but criticized by some as an infringement on Naga cultural practices. This controversy highlights the challenges of balancing cultural preservation with changing social norms and global perspectives. The traditional dress of the Naga is another area where cultural practices intersect with contemporary realities. Naga traditional attire is known for its vibrant colors, intricate designs, and symbolic significance. Different tribes have their own distinctive patterns and styles, often incorporating elements that denote social status, achievements, or tribal affiliation. In the past, Naga traditional dress was an everyday reality. Today, it's more commonly worn during festivals, cultural events, or special occasions. Many young Naga, particularly in urban areas, rarely wear traditional attire in their daily lives. This shift has led to concerns about cultural erosion and efforts to promote the use of traditional dress. At the same time, there's been a resurgence of interest in Naga textiles and designs in recent years. Naga motifs are being incorporated into contemporary fashion, both within Nagaland and beyond. This trend has been celebrated as a way of preserving and promoting Naga culture, but it has also raised questions about cultural appropriation and the commercialization of indigenous designs. The role of traditional governance systems in modern Naga society is another area of both continuity and controversy. Many Naga communities still have village councils or tribal bodies that operate alongside, and sometimes in tension with, the formal government structures. These traditional institutions often play important roles in dispute resolution, land management, and the preservation of customary laws. However, the coexistence of traditional and modern governance systems can lead to conflicts. There have been instances where decisions made by traditional bodies have clashed with state laws or constitutional provisions, particularly in areas like gender equality or individual rights. Navigating these tensions between customary practices and modern legal norms remains an ongoing challenge for Naga society. The status of women in Naga society is another area where traditional practices and modern values sometimes come into conflict. Historically, Naga society was largely patriarchal, with men dominating public life and decision-making processes. However, women played crucial roles in agriculture, household management, and informal social networks. In recent decades, there have been significant changes in the status of Naga women. Education has opened up new opportunities, and women are increasingly visible in professional fields and public life. However, challenges remain. Women are still underrepresented in formal political structures, and issues like domestic violence and gender-based discrimination persist. One particularly contentious issue has been the question of women's representation in traditional governance bodies. In 2017, violent protests erupted in Nagaland over attempts to introduce 33% reservation for women in urban local bodies. Opponents argued that this would violate Naga customary laws protected under Article 371(a) of the Indian Constitution. This controversy highlighted the complex interplay between gender equality, cultural preservation, and constitutional rights in Naga society. The practice of JHUM, or slash-and-burn agriculture, is another area where traditional practices intersect with modern concerns. Jhum has been a cornerstone of Naga agriculture for centuries, adapted to the hilly terrain and forest ecology of their homeland. However, with population growth and environmental changes, there are increasing concerns about the sustainability of this practice. Many Naga communities are now grappling with how to balance traditional agricultural practices with the need for environmental conservation and food security. Some are experimenting with modified forms of JHUM or transitioning to more settled forms of agriculture. These changes have implications not just for the environment but for social structures and cultural practices tied to the agricultural cycle. Religion continues to be a significant aspect of Naga culture, with Christianity playing a dominant role in most Naga communities today. However, the relationship between Christianity and traditional Naga cultural practices remains complex. While many traditional practices have been abandoned or modified under Christian influence, others have been reinterpreted or incorporated into Christian worship. For instance, traditional Naga festivals have often been transformed into Christian celebrations, retaining elements of cultural practice while aligning with Christian theology. Some churches incorporate traditional Naga music and dance forms into their worship services. At the same time, there are ongoing debates within Naga Christian communities about which traditional practices are compatible with Christian faith and which should be discarded. In recent years, there has been a growing interest among some Naga in reviving or preserving elements of pre-Christian Naga spirituality. This has led to efforts to document traditional beliefs and practices, and in some cases, to integrate aspects of traditional spirituality with Christian faith. These efforts are often framed in terms of cultural preservation rather than religious revival, reflecting the complex ways in which spirituality, culture, and identity intersect in contemporary Naga society. The use of traditional herbal medicine is another area where Naga cultural practices continue to play a significant role. Many Naga communities have a rich tradition of herbal healing, with knowledge passed down through generations. While modern healthcare has become more accessible in many Naga areas, traditional medicine continues to be widely used, often in conjunction with allopathic treatments. There have been efforts to document and preserve this traditional medical knowledge, recognizing its potential value not just for Naga communities but for broader pharmacological research. However, these efforts also raise questions about intellectual property rights and the commercialization of indigenous knowledge. As we conclude this exploration of Naga cultural practices and controversies, it's clear that Naga society is in a state of dynamic change, negotiating the complex terrain between tradition and modernity. The challenges they face: preserving cultural heritage while adapting to changing times, balancing community traditions with individual rights, navigating between local practices and global norms, are not unique to the Naga, but are shared by indigenous communities around the world. What makes the Naga case particularly fascinating is the way these issues play out against the backdrop of their unique history and geopolitical situation. The legacy of headhunting, the prevalence of Christianity, the ongoing struggle for political autonomy. All these factors shape how the Naga engage with questions of cultural practice and identity in the 21st century. As we move beyond exoticized portrayals of Naga culture, we find a society grappling with universal human questions about identity, change, and continuity. The controversies and debates within Naga society are not signs of cultural decay, but of a living, evolving culture adapting to the challenges of the modern world while striving to maintain its unique identity. In this ongoing process of negotiation and adaptation, the Naga offer valuable insights into the resilience and dynamism of indigenous cultures in our rapidly changing global context. 8. Preserving the past, embracing the future, Naga traditions and contemporary challenges. As we come to the final chapter of our exploration into the world of the Naga people, we find ourselves at a critical juncture where the past and future converge. The Naga, like many indigenous communities around the world, are engaged in a delicate balancing act, striving to preserve their rich cultural heritage while simultaneously navigating the complexities of the modern world. This effort to bridge tradition and modernity is not without its challenges, but it also presents opportunities for innovation and cultural revitalization. One of the most pressing challenges facing Naga society today is the preservation of their languages. The Naga are not a monolithic group but a collection of numerous tribes, each with its own distinct language. Many of these languages are now endangered, with younger generations increasingly adopting Nagamese, a Creole language, or English as their primary means of communication. The loss of these languages represents not just a linguistic tragedy but a potential erosion of cultural knowledge and worldviews embedded within them. Efforts to preserve Naga languages have taken various forms. Some communities have initiated language documentation projects, working with linguists to create dictionaries and grammars. Others have focused on integrating local languages into the education system, developing textbooks and teaching materials in Naga languages. There's also a growing movement to use digital technologies for language preservation, with apps and online resources being developed to make Naga languages more accessible to younger generations. The preservation of traditional Naga arts and crafts is another area of focus. Naga textiles, known for their vibrant colors and intricate designs, are not just beautiful artifacts but repositories of cultural knowledge. Each pattern and motif tells a story, often relating to tribal history, social status, or spiritual beliefs. However, the art of weaving these textiles is increasingly under threat as younger Naga opt for more lucrative careers and machine-made fabrics flood the market. To counter this trend, there have been initiatives to revitalize traditional crafts. Weaving cooperatives have been established in many Naga villages, providing employment opportunities and ensuring the transmission of weaving skills to younger generations. Some designers are working to blend traditional Naga motifs with contemporary fashion, creating a market for Naga textiles beyond traditional contexts. Museums and cultural centers, both within Nagaland and internationally, are also playing a role in preserving and showcasing Naga material culture. The realm of traditional knowledge, particularly in areas like agriculture and medicine, is another focus of preservation efforts. The Naga have a rich heritage of ecological knowledge, developed over centuries of living in close relationship with their environment. This includes knowledge about sustainable farming practices, medicinal plants, and forest management. However, as lifestyles change and younger generations move away from traditional occupations, there's a risk of this knowledge being lost. To address this, some Naga communities are establishing seed banks to preserve indigenous crop varieties. Others are documenting traditional medicinal practices, often in collaboration with scientific institutions interested in the potential of these remedies. There's also a growing interest in reviving traditional agroforestry practices as a sustainable alternative to industrial agriculture. The preservation of oral traditions, stories, songs, and folklore is another crucial aspect of cultural conservation. These oral traditions are not just entertainment, they're vehicles for transmitting cultural values, historical knowledge, and spiritual beliefs. However, with the increasing prevalence of modern media and entertainment, these traditional forms of storytelling are at risk of being forgotten. To counter this, there have been efforts to record and transcribe Naga oral traditions. Some communities are organizing storytelling festivals, creating spaces for elders to share traditional tales with younger generations. There's also a growing body of Naga literature, with authors drawing on traditional storytelling techniques to create contemporary works that bridge the gap between old and new. While these preservation efforts are crucial, it's important to note that Naga culture is not static. Like all living cultures, it continues to evolve and adapt to changing circumstances. The challenge is not just to preserve traditions in amber but to find ways for these cultural elements to remain relevant and vital in contemporary Naga life. This brings us to the contemporary challenges facing Naga society. One of the most significant is the rapid urbanization and modernization taking place in Naga areas. As more Naga move to cities for education and employment, traditional village-based social structures are being disrupted. This urbanization brings new opportunities but also challenges, including the breakdown of traditional support systems, increased individualism, and the erosion of communal values. The changing economic landscape presents both opportunities and challenges for the Naga. While there's been economic growth in Naga areas, particularly in urban centers, unemployment remains a significant issue, especially among youth. Many young Naga are leaving their home regions in search of better opportunities, leading to concerns about brain drain and the sustainability of rural communities. To address these economic challenges, there have been efforts to promote entrepreneurship and skill development among the Naga. Some initiatives focus on creating economic opportunities that align with traditional Naga skills and knowledge, such as eco-tourism projects that showcase Naga culture and natural heritage. Others are working to develop modern industries in Naga areas, aiming to create local job opportunities that can stem the tide of outmigration. Environmental issues pose another significant challenge. The Naga homeland, with its rich biodiversity, is facing threats from deforestation, climate change, and unsustainable development practices. Many Naga communities are at the forefront of conservation efforts, drawing on traditional ecological knowledge to develop sustainable resource management practices. However, these efforts often come into conflict with top-down development models imposed by state authorities. The ongoing political situation in Naga areas continues to shape the challenges and opportunities facing Naga society. While there have been steps towards peace in recent years, the long-standing conflict has left deep scars on Naga society. Issues of governance, autonomy, and intertribal relations continue to be subjects of debate and negotiation. One positive development in recent years has been the increasing role of civil society organizations in Naga areas. These groups are playing crucial roles in addressing social issues, promoting peace, and advocating for Naga rights. Many of these organizations are led by young Naga professionals who are finding ways to blend traditional Naga values with modern approaches to social change. Education is another area where the tension between tradition and modernity plays out. While there's a strong emphasis on formal education in Naga society today, there are ongoing debates about how to integrate Naga cultural knowledge into the curriculum. Some educators are experimenting with culturally responsive teaching methods that draw on Naga traditions and learning styles. The role of technology in Naga society is evolving rapidly. While digital technologies offer new opportunities for cultural preservation and economic development, they also bring challenges. Social media, for instance, has become a platform for Naga youth to engage with global culture, sometimes at the expense of local traditions. At the same time, these platforms are being used to promote Naga culture and connect dispersed Naga communities. The changing status of women in Naga society is another area of both progress and tension. While women have traditionally played important roles in Naga society, they have often been excluded from formal decision-making structures. In recent years, there have been growing calls for greater gender equality, with women increasingly taking on leadership roles in various sectors. However, these changes sometimes come into conflict with traditional norms and power structures. Health is another area where traditional practices and modern approaches intersect. While access to modern healthcare has improved in many Naga areas, traditional healing practices continue to play an important role. Some health initiatives are working to integrate traditional and modern medical approaches, recognizing the value of both systems. As we look to the future, it's clear that the Naga face both significant challenges and exciting opportunities. The task of preserving their rich cultural heritage while adapting to the demands of the modern world is not an easy one. However, the resilience and adaptability that have characterized Naga society throughout its history suggest that they are well equipped to navigate these complex waters. The Naga experience offers valuable lessons for other indigenous communities grappling with similar challenges. Their efforts to preserve language and culture, to find sustainable economic models, and to assert their rights within modern nation-states, all provide insights into the complexities of indigenous life in the 21st century. Moreover, the Naga story reminds us of the importance of cultural diversity in our increasingly globalized world. The unique perspectives, knowledge systems, and cultural practices of the Naga and other indigenous peoples represent a vital resource for humanity as we face global challenges like climate change, biodiversity loss, and social inequality. As we conclude our exploration of the Naga people, it's clear that their journey is far from over. The coming years and decades will undoubtedly bring new challenges and opportunities. How the Naga navigate these changes, how they balance tradition and modernity, and how they shape their place in the world, will be a story worth watching. Their experience speaks to universal human themes of identity, adaptation, and resilience in the face of change. In the end, the story of the Naga is not just about a single ethnic group in a remote corner of South Asia. It's a microcosm of the human experience in our rapidly changing world, a testament to the enduring power of culture, the complexities of identity, and the ongoing negotiation between tradition and modernity that we all, in our own ways, must navigate. As we close this chapter, we're left with a profound appreciation for the richness and complexity of Naga culture, and a keen awareness of the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. The Naga journey continues, and in its unfolding, we see reflected our own struggles and aspirations as we all strive to find our place in an ever-changing world. The story of the Naga people serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of cultural diversity, the resilience of indigenous communities, and the ongoing relevance of traditional knowledge in our modern world. It challenges us to think deeply about how we balance progress and preservation, how we negotiate between local identities and global citizenship, and how we can create a future that honors the wisdom of the past while embracing the possibilities of the future. As we've journeyed through the misty hills of the Naga homeland, explored their rich cultural traditions, grappled with their complex history, and considered their contemporary challenges, we've gained not just knowledge about a specific group of people, but insights into the broader human experience. The Naga story, in all its complexity and vibrancy, offers us a mirror in which we can reflect on our own cultural identities, our relationship with tradition and modernity, and our place in an increasingly interconnected world. As we move forward, the story of the Naga people invites us to reflect on our own cultural identities and the value we place on diversity in our increasingly interconnected world. It challenges us to think critically about how we can create a global society that respects and preserves indigenous cultures while addressing the needs and aspirations of all people. We encourage you, our viewers, to continue exploring these themes. How do the experiences of the Naga resonate with your own cultural background? What lessons can we draw from their story that apply to our own communities and societies? We invite you to share your thoughts, experiences, and questions in the comments below. Your engagement with these ideas helps to foster a global dialogue about the value of cultural diversity and the importance of preserving indigenous knowledge and traditions. By learning from each other and from communities like the Naga, we can work towards a more inclusive, sustainable, and culturally rich global future. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of the Naga people. We hope this exploration has broadened your perspectives and inspired you to delve deeper into the rich tapestry of human cultures that make our world so diverse and fascinating. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep celebrating the incredible diversity of human experience that surrounds us all.